Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the SpursRelated YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very well on this Monday evening. Today, we have another Thomas Frank managerial update with regards to his tenure at Tottenham Hotspur. And as is probably many of you, very, very surprised he's still in a job and he's going to be managing us for another game, this time in the Champions League at home against Borussia Dortmund, who, by the way, are on an absolutely unbelievable run. We're also talking a little bit about transfer news, although there isn't as much as normal, but we will bring you the very latest, as well as some team news. Our very thin squad keeps getting thinner, and we would love to get your guys' thoughts on all things to do with Thomas Frank and transfers. But please do me a massive favor, guys. We're doing daily content for you, whether it's a live stream or an offline video. So if you could all smash the like button if you're on YouTube and on Facebook and on X, turn on the notification bell as well, which is free to do so, and subscribe. And as we always say, they are the three freebies: like, noties, and subscribe. But if you're in a position to do so, there is the super chat option down below if you want to get in your question, beat the chat, as well as becoming a member for as cheap as $1.99 a month, which really helps us out, supports us, gets us new mics, gets us new equipment, allows us to progress as a channel. So that is an option down below, but is not compulsory. But guys, hope you're all doing well. Let me know your thoughts on the Thomas Frank news. I can't believe he's still in a job, but let's hear what Thomas Frank's AI son, I think it really might be the last time I'm calling him that, Frank Thomas, that is his real name. Frank, mate, how are you feeling about it?
Confused, like bewildered. I mean, anything that kind of comes under that sort of category of feeling. I don't get what they're doing. I won't go into too much now, but I don't understand what they're doing. Usually every decision that gets made, I feel like, at the club, you can kind of justify it from like their point of view as well. Whether I'm not necessarily supporting ownership or whatever, but like, you go, they've made that decision because it benefits them in this way. The only thing I can suggest is that their thought is we don't play at home again for 12 days after this. We play 2 away games in that time. If they keep him tomorrow night, maybe the heat is on him as opposed to them. Then the next time we play at home, it's the end of the transfer window. They can kind of take a step back. They maybe sack him in that time. They give it to someone who does an all right job for the next 2 games, and then the pressure's off and it quietens down a little bit. That's my only kind of thought, because I don't actually know what they're doing. And it's concerning. It's concerning that a multi-sort of billion-pound operation don't seem to have a plan in place.
Yeah, I think that's really well summarized, actually. I didn't really think of it like that. The fact that, yeah, I guess some heat will be taken off the ownership if we were to have a good end of the window. Everyone seemed pretty buzzing with our last transfer window, even though, in my opinion, it wasn't as good as maybe some people thought. Easy to say now that, you know, some of those players haven't been a success, like Sekola Moani, Javi Simmons hasn't hit the ground running. But we'll get into that. And Henry, how are you doing, mate? I think this is your hat trick, your 3rd appearance on the channel. How's your TikTok doing? How are you doing? And how are you feeling about Thomas Frank, mate, being still in charge?
Yeah, good, mate. I mean, personally good. Thomas Frank, not so much. I don't even know where to start with him. There's so much to talk about, but I'm sure we'll get into all of it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. The numbers are growing. The support has been great on this channel. Really appreciate it, guys. I can see there's already 60 of you in the house under 3 minutes. Really appreciating the support. I'm sure that'll grow. Logan THFC's first in here. Says, evening, fellas. Big up to Everington. I've just merged the 2 comments. Big up to everyone. Stefan Everington is saying, evening, gents. Big up yourself, mate. Scope's in here. Well done, mate. Well done. What am I even talking about? My brain is fried because of this situation. I can't even think straight, guys, anymore. I hope you're good. Any other business? The DIY, Frank, ENIC, and the cat would have been kicked out a long time ago, says Wide Eye. I know he's saying it's such a shame that it's such a big UCL game. It's being treated as such a pessimistic match. Feels like we're going in with a thought of throwing it away. It's absolutely unacceptable, really, isn't it? John Stokes is in, saying evening, James Frank in, and Henry. What are they doing? Says Wide Eye. It's baffling, says Jessica. Still no signings. I'm wondering if they're preparing a sale, to be honest. Possibly. I believe a Division 1 manager would do better than Frank, says Scoped. Going to get through a few more. Thomas Frank could be without up to 15 first-team players for Tottenham's UCL match. And we've got some news about the squad as well, because Matthias Tell has been removed from the Champions League squad and Solanke comes in. Let me know what you guys think on that decision, and we'll get to the nitty-gritty on that one in a minute. Mr. Vignall saying the turnaround to sack Frank and staff to get a replacement was too short. Imagine having to change the name on all their coach tickets. Love it. Always thinking outside the box. Morning from Sydney, boys. Loving our worldwide support, guys. Let us know where you're from as well. It's always good to see so many faces from, Brazil. We had a lot of Brazilians in here yesterday. Got some Australians in here today. Absolutely love it. Mr. Vignall saying top channel that will grow, lads. Intelligent chat and good analysis. Keep it up. Really appreciate that, mate. That's really kind feedback. James saying good evening, lads. Good evening, James, from a fellow James. The pain continues, says Chandy. At least it's sunny in California. What's up, lads? Sorry, that's just reminded me of what Thomas Frank said on his way out into the training ground today. He's got the press around him going, "Oh, how you doing, Thomas? How you doing?" He's come out and gone, Yeah, I'm loving it. We're playing some football today, and it's really the sun is shining. Number one, it was the most overcast day probably for the last week, and number two, he doesn't know how to play football, so it just couldn't be any more ironic.
Sorry, just on that, it really, really felt David Brent. It felt so a character at The Office or Alan Partridge or one of them. It was so uncomfortable. Like I saw someone sort of make a comment about it and say that everyone knows this is over. But we're kind of having to put up with this like acting gig for a couple of days, and it's almost quite funny because it's just so beyond like imagination. It's so stupid, but it's embarrassing. It's quite funny.
Yeah, you're spot on. It is embarrassing. It's like it's just completely fake, isn't it? Tony McMillan saying we lack stronger quality players, which is down to ENIC. That must be resolved by the owners. However, our team under Frank are seriously lacking, which is why it's a question when he will be sacked. Completely agree, Tony. Hope you're well over on Facebook. Come and join us over on YouTube if you got yourself a YouTube channel. And that same goes to the 35 of you watching on Twitter as well, or X as they call it now. Dear Lord, he completed a sentence in the chat for the first time. Tell out, yes, well, please. Championship level player, says John Stokes. Jessica saying Tell can still play as he's 19, so yeah, just gives options. John Stokes is getting some heat from Scopes, and Mr. Vignall saying we should have guessed he had lost the change room since Jed, Romero, and Van der Ven blanked him over a month ago. But guys, keep getting your comments in, keep smashing them in, and make sure you're smashing the like button as you turn on the noties and subscribe. I won't plug that for another few minutes. You got that off. I've got that off my chest, but let's talk about this and the latest from David Ornstein. I'm going to get Henry and Frank's opinion on this as well. But this was this morning that apparently Thomas Frank was going to take today's news conference. And obviously we've got some quotes to bring you from that. Frank was telling me before we came live, it is quite dull on the whole. But we have got some breaking news that Frank's just nudged me on. So we're going to have to hold fire on that for just 1 minute. But Thomas Frank did take today's press conference and training session before Tottenham host Dortmund and expected to continue in charge of the game tomorrow, despite growing uncertainty over the 52-year-old's role as Tottenham head coach. Now, when I saw this news, I was sort of not surprised, but also like, it's just a mess. I don't understand genuinely how he's still in charge. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same. Henry, I'm going to go with you first, mate. When you saw that he was in the charge of the press conference, what were your thoughts and what were your initial thoughts? And then we've got that breaking news. So stick tight, guys, because Frank has got some breaking news from Matt Law, which is actually going to put a smile to a lot of people's faces.
Look, for me, I think we're all in a place where finally we can say Thomas Frank is going to be sacked. I'm more of the opinion that he's not been sacked yet because of the replacement and what's to happen afterwards. I've seen some rumours about they didn't really have a contingency plan for what was going to happen if Frank was to get sacked, which I find ridiculous because, I mean, a lot of us fans have really considered him, or his job up for debate for months. So how they've not started to get anything together yet is ridiculous for me. I would have first of all thought that if Frank was to get sacked, then our interim would be Heitinger until the summer, because a lot of reports have been saying that the best managers and the ones that the big hitters in the market would have been more likely to be available in the summer, especially if we're going to go for someone like Xabi Alonso or Poch or anyone like that. But that again makes me feel a bit uncomfortable in thinking that's going to happen, because surely Heitinga would have just come in and taken this job, and Frank would have been sacked on Saturday. So I'm a bit confused as to where we're going next, if I'm honest.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I completely agree. It's like, I think you said it there, Xabi Alonso. It's very unlikely to happen. Who is it that we could get next? Well, perfect timing, Henry. It's almost like you perfectly sent me on to this breaking news. It's almost like you know what I'm about to share, or maybe you don't. But anyway, this is essentially the news that we have just seen via Matt Law, who, love him or hate him, he's bringing us some news that you'd like to see, which is that Mauricio Pochettino is likely to be considered as a long-term option for Tottenham if Thomas Frank is sacked. Now, guys in the chat, we've talked about Mauricio Pochettino for a while. It feels like it's not necessarily surprising news, but that is a good way to go into sort of this next segment about potential managerial solutions if and when Thomas Frank gets sacked. Frank, I'll start with you. And guys in the chat, let me know. Number one, if you would like to see Pochettino return. Number two, if you would not. And if you say number two, let us know why. But Frank, I'll start with you. What do you think of this, mate? And Billie T, mate, welcome in. Hope you're good. We'll get your thoughts on this in a minute. But Frank, what do you reckon, mate?
I'm very for it. I'm very, very for it. I mean, I've spent the last sort of nearly 24 hours. When I got into bed last night, there's a 6-minute review of the 16-17 season that someone posted on YouTube like 8 years ago or whatever. And I sat there and I watched that, and instantly I thought, I want that back, as we all do. I woke up this morning in what was relatively good spirits. I was on the tube at 8 o'clock this morning. I had Chaz and Dave on, which was, very Spurs of me. And I felt, again, positive. Got off the tube and saw that he was staying, which killed the mood. But this again, this is something that I think it's so easy. I think it's an easy move for the ones above. It unites people quickly. I think he's tactically good enough in terms of you create things, but you're defensively good enough. That, as I say, you build that bridge again very quickly. I think the squad we have suits him, and so I'm for it. I'm very for it in all regards, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think it's positive. A lot of people in the chat are saying bad move. Interested to know your thoughts, Bill. I'm guessing you've just seen that news as you've joined us, mate. Firstly, how are you doing? And secondly, are you all for Pochettino back for the long-term solution, maybe in the summer, after the summer?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thank you. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but yeah, I'm massively all for it, man. It's with my heart, not my head, really. My head says it's probably not going to work and it might go wrong, but my heart says, until we do this once, it's going to keep being a question every single time. So let's just do it, man, because also there's loads of other options out there, and it's like, we've got to go and get someone else. Like the people that I would take above him, like Nagelsmann or Alonso or people like that, just are unrealistic targets anyway. They probably won't come to Tottenham. So yeah, I'm all for it, man. I've was in love with the guy when he was our manager. Been chasing that kind of feeling since, and let's see if we can get it back.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I feels like now is sort of a perfect time with such toxicity around the club and sort of the togetherness of not only just the team, but the relationship between the fans and the team seem the most disconnected I can remember supporting Tottenham. And it seems like the perfect sort of remedy and the perfect solution. Henry, just get your thoughts, mate. After what Bill and Frank and I have just said there, do you think this makes perfect sense? Can you see it happening?
Yeah, more to lead on to from what you said. I think one of the big things that Thomas Frank's got wrong at our club is his people management. Half the job is really managing what you say with the players and the fans, and he's got that so wrong. I think bringing Poch back definitely bridges that gap between the fans and the club that is just so big at the moment. So from that viewpoint, I think this is the right move.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get the chat's react.
Sorry, just very quickly as well. I saw a tweet last night that said something along the lines of, if we're going to be bad, I'd at least like to be bad with my dad. And I quite liked that. I thought that was quite fitting. If we're going to be rubbish, let's do it with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get a couple comments from the chat because it's going nuts. Really appreciating the support. The rule is the rule. Solanke is fit and comes right back. It's his spot, not Frank or Spurs' decision in regards to the Tell decision. We'll come on to that in a minute. Let's focus on the managerial stuff for now. But supporting Spurs right now is like being at a torture table. This is Darren Fearon. Hope you're well, mate. In terms of the Pochettino reaction, we've got John Stokes saying, Poch out, rubbish manager. Incredible from you, John. I didn't see it in you. I did not see it in you. I don't do if, says Darren. Oh, God knows, says Jessica. Stefan's a yes, definitely for Poch. So is Els. A bad move, says Spurs. The team does not suit him. He won't last long. Interesting. A lot of people know for Poch. I'm surprised. Football was so bad season we got to the final. Crap sub choices. And on cloud 9, Poch won't be our manager. Guys, take the nostalgia out of it, says Ashraf. He struggled at Chelsea, PSG, and the US national team. He's been away from Prem and the game has moved on. Has he evolved? What do you reckon, Bill?
Well, I think, every manager has struggled at Chelsea. And actually, by the time that East was sacked, he had them in 6th and 3rd in the form table. And every single Chelsea player absolutely adored him. Cole Palmer says that Pochettino made me into the player that I was. And Cole Palmer has not had a season since as good as that since Pochettino left. Gallagher, the same, very, very vocally, in the support of Poch. So I don't think he struggled at Chelsea at all, to be honest. I think, he won the title at PSG as well. I know he didn't win in his first season, but that was because he took over and they weren't in the lead in that race anyway. So, but and at USA again, he's sort of turned that around as well. And now, I think they've won the last few games and there too. So I don't think the narrative that he's struggling everywhere has been since is true. And I would look at the fact that, the way that he is with young players and look at our squad at the moment. There's people like Taylor, Odebear, Archie Gray, Bergvall, Luca Williams-Bartlett, Byfield that he can work with. And there's not many better player developers than Poch. And you only have to look at people like Cole Palmer, Dele Alli, Harry Kane, the way that they talk about him. And I think that's what we need now. And, he's never been a manager that, loves working with stars. He likes to work with young players, and that's what we've got. So, I think the concern about his football is true. Like his style of football isn't really, necessarily something that you see in the Premier League anymore. Like the kind of the way that he had us playing before. But I'm sure he can adapt. He's a very intelligent guy. So I think with our young squad, I think he'd be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. It links to this comment here from Mr. Vignall saying Spurs fans would be fine if we were mid-table, but we saw our youngsters improving. Poch hopefully can coach those players up. And like you said, Williams-Bartlett, a great example.
Said, at the time when he took over, we had Sherwood and like most of our squad looked absolutely rubbish. And Ericsson was a left winger and Walker was a joke and all these players like that. And then suddenly Poch came and coached them, turned them all around. So I think that even players now that you might think of, being rubbish. When someone like Pochettino comes in, that might change really quickly. It's the same kind of situation that he took over before. We were an absolute mess when he took over the first time.
Yeah, no, it's good points, mate. And even players like, I think, Tell and Odebear would thrive under Poch. I really do. I think we'd see a new lease of life in them. I think someone like a Bergvall really needs a Pochettino as well. It's players that are sort of shown signs of being good.
Archie Gray would love Pochettino. Would love Archie Gray, I think.
It'd be like the Eric Dyer, wouldn't he? 100%. The players are the problem. Stop blaming 16 managers. John Stokes, do you know what? I do agree with your comment here to an extent, but there's serious problems in our squad. And that lies down to a whole new other debate. I say new other debate, a whole other sort of area, which is to do with the transfers, recruitment and decision-making from the ownership. What do you mean? Don't go back to your ex. You don't even know they might have learnt new tricks that could be fast and furious and exciting, says David Clark. I need to start reading something. I mean, that one wasn't too bad, but I need to start reading the comments before I bring them up. I'm going to get cancelled. Darren Fearon saying football is different. He is no longer ahead of the game. Poch in, but will still be the same issue and not backed. I do agree with that. Scott saying, I don't know which manager would suit us. No major manager would come to us. I don't know who you take. This is the thing, guys. If you don't want Poch, let us know in the comment section now who you'd have instead. A couple more comments and then we'll move on to maybe talking a bit more about Thomas Frank, but the Pochettino thing has come at a good time. I mean, it's almost like Spurs leak this sort of information to make it less toxic for tomorrow night. Imagine how toxic it's going to be at that stadium tomorrow. I'm personally not going. Frank, I'm sure you're going, and Bill, maybe you're going as well. And Henry, I don't know if you're going, but there's certainly going to be a serious toxic atmosphere tomorrow night. I wouldn't like to be there myself, to be honest. I don't know. Sorry, Frank is a yes man. Up to 15 players out and only one signing. It doesn't matter who's in charge. Things will not change until the board or owners are gone. 2 weeks left in the window. It's a joke. Neil Nee is saying, get fit and good players for Frank. He'll deliver. Any player who feels big and has been around for 4 years can move on. Frank needs backing, after which we decide. Couple more comments. Go watch Indecent Proposal with Woody Harrelson. Poch is Demi Moore. With Poch, the board buy themselves an entire season. An Argentinian coach with an Argentine captain plays Gallagher. Come on. That is probably the most random comment I've seen this year. Bill, as a film connoisseur, do you even know what this is?
I know the film. I've not seen it, but I think it's a bit raunchy, I believe. I've not seen it.
Okay. Probably why I haven't seen it. Right. And yeah, what is the hate about Gray telling Odebert? Genuinely curious. And Poch is a flea we need to kick. I think that's just how we've got to end it with John Stokes' comments. Absolutely a Poch hater. But anyway, back to the Thomas Frank situation. Not that screen. This one. He got asked on whether he got clarity from his lunch that he had with Vinay and I believe, who else was there? Vinay and who, guys?
Langer and Nick, who is, I believe, the Lewis family, Vivian Lewis's son-in-law, I believe.
Right. Well, apparently he was asked whether he got clarity from that lunch with those guys and girls, and he said, from his lunch with the hierarchy, I haven't heard anything like that in football, where someone says, "Hey, mate, if you win tomorrow, no problem. If you lose tomorrow, no problem." It was a conversation about life and football. All I would say is there's a storm or bad weather, people normally run away. They're not being friendly and having lunch. He's a weird guy, isn't he? I think he's a weird guy. Henry, thoughts on these comments, mate?
I mean, I think we just have to take everything that Thomas Frank says now with a pinch of salt. I think Frank really summarised it well earlier when we started this. He's just waffling his way through any kind of media interaction he's got now until the job's done. Yeah,
I mean, I don't even know what to say. Frank, you got anything to add on this?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, like he's an intelligent bloke. I realise he's not done a great job, but he's obviously a clever bloke. And so maybe suggest he's naive would be harsh or whatever. But I would actually argue that if 3 of your big bosses take you out for lunch, that's probably not a great sign. As opposed to it being, they're not running from a storm. That's probably the sign that you ain't got long left. And so, especially if you're going for a conversation,
especially the Lewis family guy being there, I would suggest.
Yeah, exactly. If it was just the other 2, you'd go maybe. But the fact he's there, I mean, I think as I said earlier on, we all know it's done, and now he's on some acting gig for the next 2 days, and when that's over, we're free.
Yeah, it's just the last bit. All I would say is if there's a storm or bad weather, people normally run away. They're not being friendly and having lunch. Sorry, I just think I've seen it all now. I really do. I don't know. It's just a bizarre guy. I think you're right, Frank. I think he's a nice guy, but I just think he's lost the plot. I feel a bit sorry for him in a way, but he just needs to go. He needs to be put out of his misery. Now, the other news today, the significant news, is that Matthias Tell and his camp are not happy at all with Thomas Frank's decision to get rid of Matthias Tell from the Champions League squad, with Dominic Solanke replacing him. Guys in the chat, 1, if you think that is the right decision, 2, if you think it is the wrong decision. Bill, I'll start with you on this one. Matthias Tell, I would say, has been one of our, and it's been diabolical, but he's been one of our top 5 players, in my opinion, in recent weeks. He's shown signs that there's a player there. He's shown sparks, got a couple of goals. Do you think that's the right decision to drop him from the squad? And if not, who would you have swapped Solanke with instead?
I Okay, so firstly, someone in the chat put earlier about it was an automatic decision. That's not actually true, and you can only swap him for Solanke. So, but Thomas Frank had the decision today, had to make it by midnight tonight. So he confirmed in his press conference that he could either keep Solanke, keep Tell, or swap for Solanke. That's the only choice. But it was a choice. So I think it's a mental choice personally, because Tell has played 4 games for us in a row. He's probably been our best player in that time, definitely our best attacking player anyway. And Solanke is not fit. Like he can't play at the moment. He played 15 minutes against West Ham and did absolutely nothing. Like played 10 minutes the week before against Villa, did nothing as well. Like there's no way he's ready to start a Champions League game. And this is a decision that's already going to absolutely destroy a young player in Tell who has really stood up to this team the last few weeks when not many people have. So I think it's a mental decision really. And now we've got one winger in the squad in Odegaard for the next 2 Champions League games. I know Mwani can play on the left, but has anyone seen Mwani play well on the left wing? Definitely not.
Have you seen him play well?
Well, full stop.
I don't.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't.
If you keep it as it is, you can play Tell on the left wing, and then Mwani and Scarlett are strikers. But now we've only got one. We've got 2 strikers in Solanke and Scarlett, and then one winger in Mwani who's been rubbish anyway. So, especially on the wing. So, don't know. It's
bizarre. Frank, who do you think we could have, as Bill said it, there was a decision there. Who do you think he could have replaced? Bill, as far as I understand you correctly, he could have chosen someone else to drop, right? So it could have been a different player.
Only Solanke, yeah. Only.
So it had to be. So it had to be. It's just a different. What would you, Bill? I'm guessing you wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that.
And there's people saying that in the chat saying how is Tell our best attacking player? But if you've watched the last 4 games, that's just factual. Like if you watch the West Ham game, it's factual. Like it's not saying that our other attackers are brilliant or anything like that. That's the state that we're in. Odegaard has been absent last few games. Mwani has been absent last 2 games. Tell has at least tried to contribute something. So for me, it's got to be. It's got to be. I think unless you're 100% certain that Dominic Solanke is fully fit, but he is not. Like you could tell from the West Ham game, he's just not ready yet at the moment.
Interesting. There's a lot of people in the chat. There's a lot of people in the chat that said they don't rate Tell. Like, and do you know what? Like, I find it quite interesting because although he hasn't hit the heights we'd hope, it's like Bill was saying. It's obvious he's been the more promising, better, like. The best attacker we've had in recent weeks has been Tell, 100%. Odegaard's shown sparks. He's had a couple of good games, but yeah, we've got to be careful what we say. Like, if you don't rate Tell, fine, but who's been better than him? I don't think anyone has in the attacking line at the moment. Frank, what do you think?
I think if Solanke was completely fully fit, then it would be a tougher decision.
Yeah,
a slightly tougher decision. But he's quite clearly a long way off from that. So if you're bringing him in, he said that Tell would have started. So if you're bringing him in, you need to be pretty confident that unless he was to get injured again, Solanke's going to play at least 70 minutes tomorrow. At least 70 minutes tomorrow. Which I don't think, looking at him in the first couple of games back, he's going to be anywhere near that sort of level. And so you're also then killing the kid's confidence again, which in itself is damaging. I think Tell needs to stick it out. And I think as you're kind of seeing with Kobbie Mainoo a little bit of Man United now, that Carrick brings him in, and it's a very easy job for the interim because you put your arm around someone that's low, you boost them a bit, you tell them they're great, and you give them at least a life again. Matthijs Tell is a good player. He's a good player. There's a player in there, and someone needs to get hold of the player, but there is definitely a player in there. Like, it's very obvious to see. Frank obviously doesn't want to use him. Frank doesn't particularly obviously like him. That's fine. I think he's made the wrong decision. But I think Tell needs to stick it out because, as I say, like Carrick's doing at the moment with Kobbie Mainoo, someone will come in and him and Bergvall will be treated like superstars very quickly by whoever comes in. So I think it's important or the pair of them, but him stick it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry, anything to add on this? Just the final bits about Tell, and then I'll go back onto the chat. But Drew from Australia is saying Tell has been so disrespected all season. The fact that he looks good with so little games speaks volumes. I think I agree with this comment the most. But I also understand that people saying like, look how far we've fallen. We're saying Tell's the best player. I agree with that. We have fallen so bad, but common sense should prevail that the better player that's playing better than the other players shouldn't be dropped. I don't understand it. Henry, what do you think, mate?
The only real thing that I have to add is when I saw the reports this morning, it didn't specify who really had made the decision. So I was more of the inkling of, if Thomas Frank's made this decision, why has he even been given the power to make this decision? Because beyond, let's say we lose tomorrow or whatever happens, Thomas Frank gets sacked, we still have another Champions League game that he is not going to be in charge or anything to do with. And now he's making decisions based on that. So it really confused me. But seeing that Thomas Frank's made the decision baffles me even more, because I just don't understand why he's been given power when, let's be honest, even he knows that he's not going to be in charge after tomorrow.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, in the chat, we can all agree to disagree. I know it's quite a heated time at Spurs at the moment, but you know, everyone's allowed their own opinion. But let's not use abusive language in the live chat. Those on the podcast are probably thinking, there's abuse. Yeah, if you want to come over from the podcast to the YouTube, there is a live chat where people interact, give their views and comments. And those on Twitter, there is, thanks to a Billie retweet, there's 980 people that are either watching live or have seen this live stream on their feed. So big up to yourselves on X and Twitter. Come over to the YouTube. Come and subscribe for daily Spurs content. Type in SpursRelated on the YouTube search bar. You will find us. And while I'm talking about YouTube channels, we're not ending the stream yet. We're going to go for another 20 or so minutes. But I feel like it's a perfect time to talk about very quickly, Bill, your channel and getting a few more people over to your channel, mate, because you've got some great stuff happening there. I'm going to whack it in the live chat 3 times. Guys, you won't come off this live stream. We're still live for 20 minutes. Please click on the link that I'm going to put in the live chat and subscribe to Bill and Connor's great channel. But Bill, what's going on the whistle blows, mate?
Yes, mate. Yeah, we started a couple of weeks ago and just finding our feet. Obviously, have to get all you guys on because, we always pod together, talk together. And we've got, obviously, we're just reacting to what's going on at the moment. But we've got Paul O'Keefe coming on at the weekend, which should be a good one for transfers. But I was going to say, I mean, look at this show now. Like, transfers are dead at the moment, aren't they? No one's even talking about transfers. Like, what's even going on with transfers now? I've forgotten what they look like. So we plan to do some transfer stuff, but there's no that kind of has all been forgotten about, hasn't it? So God knows what we're going to do. But thank you very much for sharing that. Much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, there's about 100 of you watching on YouTube now, 1,000 on Twitter. Like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean you're watching live, but there's 1,000 people that have seen this stream. If you're watching now and you're listening, please click on that link. I've just popped it 4 times in the YouTube chat. Click on it once, press subscribe, help Billie T out. They're doing a great job over there, him and Connor. So please go and check out, subscribe, and like. And one more plug, and then we'll go back to the transfer news because there's few and far between, but we have got a little bit more to get through. Henry, what's going on your TikTok, mate? If people are TikTokers in the chat, people love TikTok. I love a bit of TikTok, waste a bit of time. I say waste a bit of time, a bit of brain rot scrolling and all that. What's going on, Henry? Henry, you've already gained another 120 there, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I love to know that my content is just a waste of your time.
Not really giving my words today, am I?
Yeah, just doing daily Spurs content, daily Spurs lives, talking all things transfers when we get news and squad and opportunities, really. Absolutely, mate. So, guys, in the chat 4 times again, just click on that, press follow, and follow Henry. That would be greatly appreciated. Let's go back to the transfer news, guys. Good question from Simon Cohen. Says, has Sousa signed? He was at the game on Saturday. I don't think it's been announced yet. Anyone got an update on that in the panel?
I don't know. I think they're waiting for some kind of international clearance, but it's all done. But they probably can't announce anything at the moment, can they? Really, but going down really badly. So I'm probably going to let it all blow over a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you guys think we're actually going to sign next? Because I'm just stumped. Like, the links have quietened down. I'm going to bring you guys the latest sort of tier 2 and 3 news, not tier 1. But who do you guys, I'll start with you, Frank. Who do you actually think we're going to bring in? Because I have no idea. Like, I kind of had an inkling Conor Gallagher came quite quickly, through quite quickly, but we knew that Sousa was building up. But after that, we haven't really had much, have we?
No, I mean, ultimately, if you're a player, I don't know why you'd want to come to this right now, because you don't know who you're going to be playing for. Yeah. Certainly, like right now, if you're linked to, if they had a conversation with a player today, the player's going to turn around and go, well, you might have a different manager in 2 days' time. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. And someone that's probably going to be an interim as well. So then you've got to impress another manager afterwards. And so I think ultimately we need to, I think some sort of loan player, a couple of loans is probably going to be what's going to happen. I would suggest that the last couple of days of the window, some players that aren't playing at maybe slightly bigger clubs, ones at the Juves and Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, whatever, those sorts of clubs around Europe that aren't really getting in the team, that they probably will end up coming to Tottenham on loan, would be my guess, because the board will have to do something. Because if they end up keeping Frank and then don't back him, then they've backed themselves into a corner. If they sack Frank and then don't do anything in the window, everyone will go, well, you only delayed the Frank thing because you didn't want to spend any money. And so they kind of haven't really got a way out of this unless they spend money and sack Thomas Frank. And so I'll be staggered if they don't do both. Or maybe not spend money, but show some sort of initiative to go, we're going to bring these players in to help us progress. Because really, whilst we're down the bottom, we're only 6 points off Europe or 7 points off Europe, whatever it is. Like, that's seriously feasible if you go on a bit of a run, which, granted the fixtures aren't great over February or whatever, but there's a couple of home games in there and things. And so you could certainly pick up some points if you sort of improved a little bit under maybe a new manager. And so I think there's still enough to play for. On the flip side, you lose to Burnley and you're in a real deep problem. So I think the Burnley game is really important, and maybe a little bit more important than tomorrow night. Hence why maybe they're willing to sort out an interim by Wednesday.
Yeah, that Burnley game is a banana skin in itself. It really is. Sousa's been forgotten at the ground whilst we deal with the Frank panic. Last time Sousa was seen was locked in the toilets trying to get out of the window. He's probably spot on, to be honest. This transfer window isn't for Frank anymore. It's Langer buying players for the next manager. This is how the model should work. Players bought for the club, not necessarily a particular boss. Do you agree with that, Billie T? Do you agree that the model should work for players being bought for the club and not necessarily a particular boss? Because I don't strictly agree with that. I think that we should get the manager in place first and then back him with the players he wants. But each to their own.
I think that's fine as long as you have like a clear identity, but we don't. So we just go from like random manager to random manager. Like, I don't know who, like our next manager, I can guarantee whoever they are, they won't play the same as Frank. So if they have if you know that you're going to get an attacking manager every single time, and then you go and buy attacking managers, that's fine. But we just go from absolutely random manager to random manager. So no, I don't agree with it at the moment. But the thing that we need to do above all of that is get a new director of football. And like Langer could not survive this, I don't think. If Frank goes, and Frank, they're so attached. We need a new director of football completely, and we need to go in a new direction completely. And Langer should also be sacked. Parati's obviously going at the end of the window. We need a fresh start from everything, because this has just been an absolute period of misery.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think, sorry, on top of that as well, I was listening to, as I do weekly, I was listening to The View from the Lane this morning, which is the Athletics podcast at Tottenham. And I think it was James Moore who made quite a good point about the structure of the board now and the position they're in. And they've got Vinay and Matthew Connaught, I think his name is, who are the only ones that have worked within football clubs before of the 5 that are there. You've then got, I think it's Turner, Hinson and Peter Charrington, who are the other 3 who haven't worked in a football club. So 2 of your 5 in that part of the board know what it is to run a football club, which means technically the only one you've got with a real football brain in there at the moment is Johan Langer. And he doesn't fill me with much confidence. And so we're in a position where we don't have overly much knowledge and experience of how to run a football club within our club. And that's quite concerning to me. And I think the director of football has to be the right person, because most of what you do, most of the operations that you go through comes from them, I think. And so I think it's important that is the right person. And I don't think Langer is.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100%. I can't see Johan Langer lasting past Thomas Frank. I don't know. Will he go in the summer? Will he go before? I don't even know. The rate it's going with Thomas Frank, and he should have already been sacked. Who knows when Langer's going to go as well? I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I think Fabio Paratici's probably done the right thing in escaping all this. Benito, big up, mate. always good to see you in here. He says one thing I'll credit Frank with: he knows how to eat from fans and media. Breaking news on Spurs News Now: Ange was spotted in London. I can tell you for free, Ange Postecoglou will not be the.
He was in Barnet last week. Like, was right round the corner.
I think his son plays football. He still lives there.
Yeah, it'd be good fun for 6 months.
He can't enter London anymore. The jokes aside, I don't think that's anything to do with Spurs. Looks like 12,000 to 13,000 unsold tickets for tomorrow's game. My goodness. I mean, that might be the worst attendance ever at a stadium, if that's true. I can just imagine they'll somehow. It's weird. Like, sometimes they'll announce it's more than it is. I think they count the season ticket holders, don't they? Even if they haven't scanned in. But incredible. David Clark saying to improve this squad, our board has purchased a player who scored 1 goal in every 10 at Chelsea and 1 in every 10 at Atletico. So what a great improvement that is. The only thing I'd say on that, David Clark, is Conor Gallagher isn't there for goal scoring. Probably not the best metric to be using. Atalanta want 35 million for Lookman, homegrown. We all know he's talented. I know he's got a hot head, but he's 10 times better than what we currently have. I thought he's going to Turkey, Lookman. Is that not right?
Yeah, I saw him linked with West Ham today, which if he goes there, I'll be furious, to be honest.
Yeah, that would be shocking. Xavi Simons looks like he's already had enough after that Thomas Frank presser sitting next to him. Langer is considered part of the ecosystem, not part of the coaching setup. Trust me, he won't get cold with Frank. David Pleat, director of football, says Simon Cohen. As the token Aussie, he is banned from North London. Yeah, we've ruined him. Paul Pessoa, not seen you in the chat before, mate. Welcome on in. Thanks for joining. He says no manager coming in can do anything with these players, and it's been like that since Poch. Wilson as well, a new face. Lots of new faces, guys. Really appreciate all the comments today. Make sure if you are new to the stream, you are doing the like, notifications on, and subscribe. Let's try and get 100 likes on this live stream. So, guys, smash the likes. It really does help us out. I know I mentioned it a couple of times a stream, but it really helps us grow, helps us hit those algorithms. So if you could hit like, turn on the notification bell for daily content, and subscribe, that would really, really be much appreciated. I've got a couple more bits to get to, and then we'll wrap things up.
Very quickly, I just wanted to bring up that comment again about Xavi Simons. I actually felt quite sorry for him. I don't know who decides which player sits with him for the Champions League one, but given that today was going to be a difficult one anyway, because of what's happened in the last sort of 24, 48 hours, I felt a bit sorry for someone who is a young kid and new to the English media and whatever in the last 6 months, that he was thrown in front of it, and not really that should have been Vicario or Romero or whoever, Porro, someone that's a little bit more experienced, a little older in that sense. I felt a bit sorry for Xavi Simons today.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I mean, maybe the others just don't. We know that a lot of the players have turned against Thomas Frank. We know that for a fact. I think that came out of some tier 1 sources. You know, I don't think Romero's keen on Thomas Frank. I don't think Van der Ven's keen on Thomas Frank. Who else did you say there? I just don't think they.
Vicario.
I don't think
I'm
they
surprised
have any.
He didn't, to be honest. I thought he was in the
part
sort
of
of
the problem. In terms of, obviously, we talked about Thomas Frank on if he thinks the team is close to turning things around. I would refer to the last 7 games. I think they have been quite regularly in the right direction, and where it's such a little things that need to drop for us. So he thinks that we're going in the right direction. Henry, what do you make of that, mate? Because I can't quite believe it must be. He must just be like, I'm just going to say whatever now. You know, when a manager just knows, a bit like when Conte had that meltdown against that. I think it was against Southampton, and then he got sacked, didn't he? I just think he just says whatever now, just to sort of cover himself. But he sounds like he's lost the plot, to be honest. What do you think, Henry?
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. I think he's, as I said earlier, I think he's just trying to say anything he can to get through. At this point, I could genuinely see this as rage bait. He's trying to get anyone to just bite on anything he's saying. This is like, there's no way he believes that. What direction is he talking about? Because I don't think anyone's even seen a direction when he's talking about possessive patterns, let alone a direction for the football club.
Yeah, I don't get it. Bill, what do you reckon, mate? Do you think he's just rage baiting, as Henry's just said?
Yeah, I think he's also doing a bit of self-preservation, and every quote that he says now, he's trying to protect his reputation a bit. But I mean, there's no way you could watch that West Ham game and say we're doing anything right. It was an absolute shocker, which is why he's probably going to end up losing his job.
Oh dear. Great spot, Frank Thomas. Romero bleats about people not doing media. Then today he's a no-show. P.S. Frank talks like Yoda in his press conferences. That was a good comment, but well spotted. Says Digo. Thomas Frank's lost his mind. I think we all lost our mind. I think we've all suffered from this. I think it's going to take some to get back. But Frank is expected to be sacked, according to Matt Law, if his position is made untenable by results. Sorry, just quickly, isn't it already untenable by results? And more vociferous. I learned a new word today. It basically means I've already forgotten. It's like unbelievable, and it calls for him to go from supporters. More like excessively bad results. Sort of, how can it get any worse than this? I don't feel like it. How much worse can it get before we go? Actually, yeah, this is enough. What do you reckon, Frank?
I mean, I don't trust much that comes out of Matt Law's mouth, to be honest. Anyway, I know I burn any possible bridges of him ever associating with us, but it's true. But I don't know how much worse it can get. I mean, I would argue that on Saturday was probably the worst atmosphere that has been targeted at a manager in a probably ever at Spurs, you could argue. I mean, Mourinho was lucky in that he was behind closed doors. Nuno with the Man United game was rougher because it was sort of such a quick thing, Nuno, that it was dead before it even really started, that it didn't really kind of build up to a point where it got that toxic. So I think it's the most united the fan base have been in a very, very long time. They're united in not liking him. And so I don't know how much worse it can get. Tomorrow is going to be toxic. No matter what happens, it's going to be toxic tomorrow night. And ultimately, it feels like the very end.
Absolutely. And the final slide we have is that Ben Davies will undergo surgery today for a fracture on his left ankle. Just as if we need any more injuries, Ben Davies has now been added to the list, who, by the way, is unbelievably still playing for us in 2026. But having said that, it's probably been one of our better players in a couple of the games. I mean, unbelievably, kind of sums it up. But yeah, he's added to the list of what is it, Henry, now? I know you did a little total on it. It's ridiculous. How many injuries we've got now?
No, it changes day in, day out. I made a video because I'm so worried about tomorrow, because our midfield, we've been saved with media today because we were in a state where Archie Gray had a knock from West Ham. Polina still had his knock from the training injury, I'm guessing. It basically left our only available midfielder to be Lucas Bergvall and Kids, but we've seen Archie Gray in training today, and apparently Xavi Simons didn't train because he was preparing himself to go through the game tomorrow. So,
right.
But realistically, even after knocks, how much are Archie Gray and Simons going to get through that game? And if we do have to take them off at some point, we're going to have to chuck Kids, maybe Callum Olasasi and Williams Barnett into a scenario of probably the most toxic the stadium has been since it's been built. How good is that going to be for them?
Yeah, great point. I mean, it's not good, but you summarise it well. It could be the worst atmosphere since the stadium's been built. Like you said, 6 years, seven years of it. Can be really bad tomorrow. I do feel sorry. Who's going from the panel? Are you all going?
Regrettably, yeah.
I'm trying. I'm probably going to go now. Yeah, I wasn't going to, but no, I need to be there to see what happens.
Yeah, so I feel.
Yeah. It could be. Well, I don't think there's going to be as much off the pitch drama as there was with the AFCON final last night. We could have had a whole podcast about that one, couldn't we? That was quite unbelievable what I was watching. I've been corrected. It's pronounced vociferous. I got that right.
Yeah,
it means. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. You all know what I meant. It means loud or insistent as to compel attention. Wide eye. It's your best comment. It's your best comment of the comment of the stream. Spurs syndrome saying Yildiz deal ain't dead. He's still not budging with his salary demands. Comparative, you get him in as a parting gift, lads. Or am I dreaming? You are dreaming. You are very much dreaming. Wake up. Rodney said Spurs are too big for Frank to get it right. Coys, when players are unhappy, they get injured and they don't want to play. Players aren't stupid. They would usually play through injuries, but not while an atmosphere is toxic. Do you think there's some truth in that, guys?
100%. Yeah, I think that when things are going well, players want to be a part of things. Like, I'm not suggesting they fake injuries and things, but when everyone's happy and it's United and whatever, I think players make more of an effort to be around and be available. I mean, I do think at times when it's really naff, I think players probably do maybe make out slightly more than they actually are. But then again, I say that I don't think that Archie Gray would be the sort of person to do that on the flip side. I think there are players that we have that might well do, but I don't think that him and probably Xavi Simons, given that Simons probably is in desperate need of wanting to try and boost that confidence a little bit, I don't think either of those would be players to do that. But I do agree on the most part.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. We'll move on. Sort of last few minutes. I'm going to throw it to the chat. Actually, there's 80 something watching on YouTube. There's a lot of people watching on X. Do we want to talk about the game tomorrow and previewing the Dortmund players that are arguably just going to walk all over us, or do we want to look a little bit about transfers? Right in the chat now. I think it's going to be overwhelmingly wanting to talk about transfers. Normally we'd do a little preview on the game, but I tell you what, if people are putting transfers in the chat, then we'll go with transfers. Jessica's saying a Dortmund 4-0 win. Someone else went for a Spurs S-House 1-0 win tomorrow. And looks like people want transfers. I mean, I didn't type that, and that's already been put in by SpursRelated, but I think that must have been Frank, funnily enough. Let's just do score predictions for tomorrow night then. I'll start with you, Henry. Score prediction for tomorrow night and scorers. And then you can also, as a bonus point, go, what time will Thomas Frank be sacked on Wednesday?
Well, I am actually going to cling on to the very last thing of hope that we have in our home record in Europe and say that we somehow manage a draw. I don't care how, but maybe a 1-1, and then Thomas Frank will be sacked. We'll see the corner flag probably the same night. I hope anyway.
Corner flag. Bill, what do you reckon, mate? You reckon we're going to get something?
No, I don't. I think our home record in Europe might save us in some ways, but just think we're down to the absolute bare bones, and the Thomas Frank being in charge and the toxicity is too much. So I'm going to go 2-0 Dortmund. Guirassy is the player that I really wanted us to sign. We'll score both of them. I think he's an unbelievable striker.
Who's that?
Guirassy, who we should have signed.
Yeah.
Brilliant striker. Really, really good. I don't really know the Dortmund team as much as I used to. They used to be my FIFA team back in the day. I'm sure everyone's FIFA team when they had Lewandowski and Royce and everyone, but now I don't really know them that much. I know they've got Bellingham and Adeyemi and stuff, but I don't know many of their players. But so I'm going to go Guirassy, who I do know.
Yeah, it's not quite Piszczek, Blaszczykowski, Royce, Gotze. Unbelievable. Even the centre backs, you had like Felipe Santana, didn't you?
Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah, there you go. My specialist subject, go FIFA 13. So you've gone, 2-0 loss. I'm pretty sure, Bill, you said you never predict losses on this channel. So that's also been changed recently.
I ever predicted a loss, I think.
Henry's gone for do you say 1-1 draw, Henry? Right. And Frank, what are you going for?
I think there's going to be goals, actually, amazingly. They conceded 4 to Juve, 4 to City. They drew 4-4 with Juve, that is. Since the winter break, they've scored 3 in every game they've played. They've drawn 3-1, 1-3-2. So I'm going 4-3, but either way, I don't know which way. There's going to be goals. It's going to be no Mickey van der Ven. It's going to be so open.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I think he's going to realise it's the end, so he's just going to go for it.
4-3 who? To Dortmund?
Let's go Tottenham because I'm being positive, but I think either way, it's going to be goals.
Crazy. if we score 4 goals, then I don't know. Jack Burford's in here, former co-host of mine. Great to see you, gents. Let's hope it's not a cricket score tomorrow. I mean, there's Frank predicting 4-3, not far off. Ogala's saying we were promised 150 million quid, but we don't see that money. Are we still bringing in someone? Great question. James, can you name the players available for tomorrow and what you think our starting 11 will be? I can tell you for a fact the only midfielders available is Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall. I'm pretty sure.
I think
that is
the only available players, right? So you got Vicario, you got Porro, Romero, Danso, and then Spence. Then you got Bergvall, Archie Gray, Xavi, and then Mwani, Solanke, and Odegaard. That's the 11 players available. Udogie might be in the mix, maybe, but
we're gonna get battered.
Frank said there's 11 first-team players available, and that's them.
Oh my god. Maximilian Baer is a talented young lad from Dortmund. I'll take a 2-0 loss. That's how bad we are. I'm going to give my score prediction. I think I can't even. 2-2. Let's go 2-2. I'm not even confident with that. Frank will park the bus big time. Remember the Chelsea and Arsenal game's only chance we have if players go rogue again. Absolutely. Right. Last couple minutes, transfers. Let's go to our... I was about to share my screen and I was looking up what vociferous meant. But let's share the screen to talk about transfers. And this is the site that I like to use, which is, again, tier 2 and tier 3 sort of stuff, but gives us food for thought sometimes. There's links now to Mateta. I mean, the chances of that happening are quite slim. What do you reckon, Bill?
He's almost gone Juve, hasn't he? I think he's in.
Well, according to Team Talk, we're rivaling Juventus for him. I mean, not sure who's made this one up.
I do know for a fact that we tried to sign him on deadline day this summer when Solanke got injured.
Did we really?
Yeah, we went for it, but Palace said no. So it could be true.
All right, then let's talk about a more realistic one then.
God.
Jorgen Strand Larsen, who I actually put on the thumbnail, according to Team Talk's understanding, nearly a dozen clubs have initiated contract regarding a possible January transfer for him. Do you guys like him as a player? Frank, do you like Larsen, Strand Larsen?
Yeah, I don't mind him, actually. I think... I don't think he's the one. I think he's going to cost you probably too much for what he is. But then he got sort of 15 league goals last season, I think it was, and it was practically him and Cunha alone. And so I quite like him. I think he's all right. I think if you sort of paid 25 for him, and then in the summer you went and got another one at 60 or a proper one that you want, and have them as your 2 options, I think he offers something that I quite like. I don't think he'd be my number 1, but I wouldn't be that opposed to it. But he also doesn't, get me off my seat that much.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry, you're a fan of Larsen? Do you think that could happen? You see something in him that would do really well at Spurs?
I mean, I'm not his biggest fan. If he was to come in, you'd have to assume he'd only come in if both Richarlison and Solanke were going to move on in the summer, because there's no way he's going to be our first choice striker. And if he's going to be second choice to an injury-prone Richarlison or an injury-prone Solanke, then we are bang in trouble.
Absolutely. And Bill T, Strand Larsen, yes or no? What do you reckon?
No for me, thank you. I think we can do better than that. I think it's a no for me.
Okay. Curtis Jones is one that's been linked a few times now, actually, from tier 1 sources, that there is interest from Tottenham. Paul Joyce has reported that Curtis Jones has been attracting interest from Tottenham. What does it go on to say? 1 second. It says there are no suggestions Jones wants to leave Liverpool despite his squad player status. Jones has started regularly under Slot recently, and he would have a decision to make if a club like Tottenham offered guaranteed starts. I wonder if this one does spice up a little bit, because I mean, yeah, he has had a bit more game time recently, but it's not like he's getting regular game time, I believe. Curtis Jones, panel, yes or no? And do you think he'd do well at Spurs?
Yes, I think he's his progressive pass. I mean, we looked at him before, haven't we, on the show, but his progressive passing stats are the best in the league at the moment, so I was definitely for it. I think he's a brilliant player, and just because he has, something that we don't have, which is being able to pass the ball forward.
Yeah, he's been getting actually more game time than I probably realised. He's actually
probably
playing 90
minutes, isn't he? I'd be very surprised if he wanted to leave.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's only got 1 assist this season in 19 matches and no goals. Do you think it's because he's slightly deeper? You know, he's not really exactly a 10, but do you think he should be getting more return, Frank, than that?
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, I don't know what he's played 19 games. I'm starting to look now. He's only played 1,000 minutes, which is what the equivalent of 11 games or whatever. So yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit more, but I think he's a really good player, and I think these are the sort of players that probably take Spurs up a level a little bit when you go and sign players that maybe don't start all the time for teams above you. I think he's brilliant. I'm a big fan. There was a video of him today that came out of him sort of shouting and arguing with Arne Slot during their game the other day. So I don't know what's gone on there, but since then, obviously, the rumours have picked up again. So I'd really like him. I think it'd be an unbelievable signing, and if they were to get him, I'd be very, very pleased.
Absolutely. Henry, just final one on Curtis Jones, and we'll look at one more player.
Yeah, I completely agree with both the answers said before. Curtis Jones would improve us, but I just can't see a world where Liverpool haven't got a local scouts lad around, and without Curtis Jones, who's that for them? So I don't think they'd let him go.
Good point. We looked at Kalulu yesterday, didn't we? So I think, Bill, I know you weren't there, but when we talked about this one, but do we need Kalulu, the centre back from Juventus? Do you reckon, Bill?
To be honest, I don't know anything about this player. I'll have to have a look. You have to tell me. They don't know what kind of centre back that he is. He's
quite powerful, quite quick. Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna obviously today shows that we need more centre backs because we only got 2 going into a Champions League game. So I'm all for a centre back. I don't know much about the profile, to be honest.
My only slight worry with him, one of my sort of worries with him, is that he's only 6 foot, which, not to put down anyone that's below 6 foot, but he's for a centre half is kind of it's not that tall. Certainly in the Premier League, I think most centre halves in the Premier League now are huge, and I think he's another player, like I said the other day, that can play right back. He can play centre half. I think he can play as a 6 as well. And so you have one of these players that just fits a few different positions, and it stops you from having to sign someone else. And so I'm kind of against it for that reason.
Absolutely. Final one then, as is looking like not much more news. And again, like I said, these aren't tier 1 sources, but gives us food for thought and potential developments. What about the most miserable guy in world football right now, joining the most miserable club in world football? It seems like a perfect match.
I think it's the last thing that he needs to come to Tottenham right now.
It might finish him off. It wouldn't be good, would it? It's reported that Tottenham Hotspur are planning to convince Brahim Diaz to move in the January transfer window. Obviously, had an absolute stinker last night. Probably the craziest game I've watched in a long time. Still think something's going on match fixing wise, but that's not for me to comment on. But Diaz is returning to Real Madrid from the Africa Cup of Nations, which will potentially allow Spurs to continue their pursuit of the winger, apparently, although Los Blancos are very unlikely to sell him in the middle of the season. Let's see what kind of game time he gets at Real Madrid quickly. And while I'm doing that, Bill, what do you reckon on this one, mate?
I mean, it's a bit of a goal threat, which I think will be fine. I don't know loads about him. I remember watching him when he scored against. He scored the Champions League semi-final, didn't he? But don't know a massive great deal about him. But after last night, I'm sure football focus is going to be away for a few days. He probably needs to get his head sorted because it's always really started crying in the press conference and stuff. And I saw Mbappe was talking about him how he's come back to Real Madrid really upset. So I think I can't see this happening, to be honest.
Absolutely. We've got Shawnee in the chat. He's saying Kalulu is like the Messi of centre backs, not because he is a GOAT, but because he thinks he can dribble around 10 players. There you go, Bill. There's a bit of insight into Kalulu and what type of player he is. Clearly, he goes on mad runs like Van der Ven.
Yeah, having him and Van der Ven together, that could be almost exciting.
That's like Ange pulled back without having Ange back, right? But interesting. Hope you're good, Sean. Hope you're all well. Henry, what did you think of Brahim Diaz, mate? Other than the horrendous penalty, probably the worst penalty I've ever seen. It must have been fixed. Do you think he could do something at Tottenham if that was to ramp up? Because he's only played 12 matches for Real Madrid this season. I think he is out of favour. But he's only got 2 assists and no goals. Do you think he could do something at Tottenham or not?
Yeah, ability-wise, I mean, he's levels above some of the players that we've got at our club at the moment. But I mean, it's just clear as day that he's not in the headspace to join anyone who's in any kind of adversity. And I mean, I think we are the definition at the moment. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There was one comment I wanted to pick up, which goes back to sort of talking about the club and the ownership. And while we've got Bill here, let's quiz him on it and get his thoughts. He says, Bill, Mr. Vignall, with all this unhappiness, do we get the club we deserve when only 200 people turn up to protest? It's a clear green light for the owners to carry on doing nothing, keep fighting. What do you make of this, mate? Because I feel like more people should and would turn up, but I also think there's an element where maybe people don't understand exactly what's going on with the protest, but also there was a decent push. What do you make of this comment, mate? And do you encourage? Obviously, you encourage more people to turn up. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we need more people. There's no doubt about it. And obviously, since that protest, it's gotten worse. So hopefully, people will be more willing to come. I mean, it's a difficult one because, until we get serious numbers like we had last season, there's not a lot we can really push the board. We do know already that obviously they're listening because, Vinay has made a statement. There's been some other stuff happening behind the scenes I can't really talk about as well. But the club are definitely listening. But yeah, we need more numbers. I think if anything has shown that it's what's happened during the West Ham game, since the West Ham game. We're in an absolute mess at the moment. I know even since the protest in the last 3 days, I think people have got more angry at the board, and a lot of people now seem to be turning their attention to Vinay. So we're going to be looking at maybe doing something at the Man City game, hopefully. So if people want to join us in, the only way we can make a real difference, because a lot of people say we need to do stuff in the stadium, But it's really good to see the 200 people that turn up on Saturday. It's a good start. It's about the same one that we had in our first protest last season, so it's an okay start. But if you want to do stuff in the stadium, we need thousands of people, because there's 56,000 people in that stadium. Well, not at the moment, but there should be 50,000 odd people in that stadium. So we need our thousands rather than hundreds. So people keep joining us. Hopefully, we will be at the Man City game. And what I would say is, since then, people have got even more angry. So hopefully, people will join us. But yeah, we got to keep pushing, and we will keep fighting whatever happens. So
yeah, I think that's a really fair reflection. Just out of curiosity, what do you think? I mean, obviously thinking out loud here, what do you think they could do in the stadium? Because I've always thought that, like, trying to arrange something outside of the stadium, getting people a couple of hours before kickoff or whatever it is, getting people outside the stadium. Most people go to the stadium straight away, get their drinks and stuff. I think it needs to happen during the match. Obviously, we're not encouraging people to start running on the pitch or whatever, like some clubs do. But like, how do you do that? How do you make a stance and make a point about the disagreement with the ownership? Because I feel like so many people will disagree with it right now.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do. So you can do like delayed entry to the stadium, sit-ins. You can do delayed entry to the second half. Interestingly, West Ham have got one this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how theirs goes. They've got a delayed entry for 15 minutes at the weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, you need, for that to make an impact in a stadium as big as Tottenham, you need thousands to do it. So until we can guarantee those kind of numbers, and we can't really do anything like that without making a point. So basically, the options are boycotts, and a lot of people are boycotting anyway without change for Tottenham. As you see tomorrow, there's apparently 13,000 empty seats. So people are starting to do that naturally anyway. But I think delayed entry, boycotts, walkouts at halftime, stuff like that, and walkouts early are things that we can look at. But we need continued support, and I think, to be honest with you, the way that the club is going, I think our numbers will continue to grow, because everyone seems angry at the owners at the moment. But 100%. At the moment we have to start from scratch again, because obviously it's a new season, new protests, new ideas. So we will be hitting the Man City game in some way. We're not sure how yet, but watch this space.
Yeah, got a bit of time yet.
Sorry, can I ask very quickly as well? I mean, obviously, as you say, it needs to build. So this is kind of a way off at the moment. But what's the feasibility of something along the lines of, because I think if you hit them where it hurts, which is the money in their pockets, is probably what makes so what is the feasibility of, if it does build up to a certain point, of like people stopping buying beer for a certain game or something, like buying things within the ground?
Yeah, that's something that we've looked at in the past, and what we've tried to do is partner up with local businesses so that people don't spend in the ground. So that's definitely something we can look at. We always generally encourage people not to spend money in the stadium anyway, if they feel like the ownership are they're really solidly against the owners, because obviously that money goes straight directly to their pocket. And the season ticket one is a difficult thing because people say, well, if you're going to the games, you're supporting the owners, but Tottenham are going to be here long. Tottenham were here long before these owners, and they'll be here long after. So I don't really want people to have to give that up. But definitely spending in the stadium is something we can look at. We can look at supporting local area businesses rather than the club. And we are also, to try and hit the pocket, something that we've always wanted to do is target the sponsors as well, which is something that we might look to do in the future. But we need to continue support, and people are angry at the moment, and people are angry, but we need to find a way of coming together to show that anger. And I think it's not just change for Tottenham as well. I know the trusts are doing stuff behind the scenes. I know, Return of the Shelf doing stuff with the atmosphere. There's a lot going on at the club at the moment, and people need to all come together to show that this is not good enough at the moment.
Absolutely. Good discussion.
What that message says there, people are not going to games. I think we're at the point for the first time in my lifetime where people are actually doing that for once, because usually last season in particular, obviously a lot of it came with Sonny and his sort of dedicated fan base that he has. There were no games that basically weren't at basically full capacity last season. This season, it's dwindling massively. So it'll be interesting to see when the season ticket renewals come around. I think there'll be record low numbers, to be honest. I think they'll struggle to fill them all, because
problem is there's like 30,000 on the waiting list or something.
Yeah. And I think, our numbers 200 at the weekend was a good start. But I think, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people that we talk to online, a lot of people that will support us online, have given up going to games. So it's difficult, because we have to target those match-going fans.
That's a great point as well. Like I am not going as much as I normally do, and that's not because I don't love Tottenham still. It's because I think it's expensive to go and watch something that I know is going to piss me off. And you could call me fickle, you could say that's fair weather, but it's a long way for me to go to come home disappointed and having spent £150 plus on travel and the ticket to wind myself up. I mean, how many wins has it been since the start of 2025 at home? 4? Is it 2? Sorry, 2.
Nuno's got the same amount as Neo in the last 9 months or something. 2. So.
I mean, it is
tomorrow is a prime example. Right? A few years ago, say 5 years ago under Poch, Champions League game against Dortmund, where it's right on the line, where we can go through, we can still outside chance of top 8. I would do anything to be there. I'd have a ticket already. I'd plan my whole week around it. I'm not even sure I'm even going to go and watch it. Do you know what I mean? It's like 13,000 Spurs fans not going tomorrow, but for a home Champions League game against Dortmund. I mean, you only have to remember Wembley. We sold out Wembley against Dortmund, 90,000 people. Jan Vertonghen playing left back.
What a game! What a game! That was my favourite game, left back. And he did the super Jan right in front of me round the goal, and he played left wing back, didn't he? He played unbelievably well. And all you have to do is think about, and this is why, in a way, a lot of people will want Poch, because look at that game against Real Madrid. That's the best game I've ever been to live for Tottenham. That Dortmund one's top 5 for me. That was unbelievable. So many good memories. But anyway, let's not kid ourselves too much. Let's do one more transfer news and then we'll wrap things up. Guys, there is 120 watching on YouTube. Great support tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. There's 1,500 that have either watched or are either watching live or have seen us on Twitter. If you're over on Twitter, come over to the YouTube and smash the support. Hit the like button down below, please, guys, on YouTube. That'd be greatly appreciated. Turn on the notification bell as well. That really does help us out. We're doing daily transfer updates, daily transfer content, daily Tottenham content. So please hit the like button, turn on the notification bells, and subscribe if you are new to Spurs Related. That'd be greatly appreciated. The John Stokes, very generous of you, mate. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says Harry Redknapp said stop bringing in average players. He did say that. I think he said that today, didn't he? And he said something about, there were some good quotes from him. Bill, you probably saw it, or Frank, any of you guys would. I saw Harry Redknapp. He was quite frustrated about how Tottenham was, wasn't he? He was really angry, and he wouldn't have got us to this state, would he? Go on, Bill.
I did think about citing it on here and showing it on here, but it would have meant I was bringing up a report from GB News, and so it's clear. But he did say some pretty good. I'd love him back for 6 months. It's been brilliant fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But John Stokes, really appreciate the super chat. And guys, just a reminder, as I was saying, hit the like button, please. Turn on the notification bell and subscribe if you are new. And if you're in a position to do so, like John Stokes very generously has done, please join as a member. You get priority access in the live chat. Bring up your live chat straight away. And obviously the super chat option is available if you want to contribute financially as well. Really appreciate that, John. Jan Vertonghen, what a player he was. As I said, let's do one last bit of transfer news, 2 more minutes, and we'll wrap things up. I've got this one on my screen. Jonathan David, who is currently playing for Juventus, 20 matches, 3 goals, 3 assists, hasn't really hit the ground running with them. According to Marca, David is of interest to 4 Premier League clubs: Newcastle, Tottenham, West Ham. Let's guess who the rest. Let me guess, it's Man United. Let's have a look. 1 second. Internet's been a bit slow. Apologies.
No, Wolves.
Oh, Wolves. Wolves are not getting Jonathan David. The same report indicates these clubs are considering making an offer for the forward. Juventus considers David an important part of their project and does not plan to let him go. Yes or no? Start with Bill. Yes or no, John David? Do you like him as a player? Do you think it could happen?
Yeah, I do. I think it would be a nice, easy signing. He's one that I wanted to sign him when it was at Lille. He was banging the goals in there and banging his goals in for Canada as well. Yeah, I would take it all day long. I know he's had a bit of a hard time at Juve, but Juve is one of those clubs where that can happen quite often, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry, Jonathan David, a player that excites you?
Yeah, I definitely like the player, but the only thing that really worries me is almost similar to Colin Mwani. He's seemed to bounce around either rumours and things such as that from massive clubs for years and years, and I don't really understand why he's not really hit the ground running anywhere or got that. I mean, he got the move to Juventus, but it's not really worked out for him. It's just a little bit. It's something that always sticks in the back of my mind with him.
Yeah, good point. And finally, Frank.
He's got a cool celebration. if that really.
Oh, we're going to sign him, mate. I want to know how he is as a player.
Yeah, but like that adds to the excitement. I've not watched any of him since he's been at Juve, to be brutally honest. That's simple.
Yeah.
So I think he's pretty good at Lille. I think
very good at Lille. Very good at Lille. I'd go as far as saying.
I mean, I think that it would make sense. It would make sense, I think. But I think they would be a little bit skeptical of signing anyone for too much money permanently now that the new manager may not want. So I think unless it's going to be a loan, I think most deals that we're going to go for are going to be loans now.
Absolutely. Sorry, just quickly, if you look at his stats, excuse me, you say he was decent at Lille, and Billie T said it as well. 32 matches in 2024, 16 goals, 34 matches, 19 goals in 23, 24 goals, 37 matches, 22, 23, double figures every single year. And some of them getting as far as 24, 19. He's just dipped at Juventus massively. And so is the argument that Serie A is a harder league than Ligue 1, or is the argument that Juventus isn't the fit for him? What do you reckon, Bill?
Well, I was reading a couple of people that say actually the French league is the best comp for the Premier League at the moment, the similarity in league. So I wouldn't be too worried about Serie A. It's a very different style of football to the Premier League. It's incredibly slow, and we get a lot of time on the ball, but maybe it doesn't fit like a fast-paced striker like Jonathan David. But I look at the numbers at Lille being very good, and then interestingly enough, Colin Mwani obviously smashed at Juventus and can't score a goal here, so I don't know what we read into that. But yeah, look at that goal return there for those last 3 seasons. That's really good, and that 24, 19, 16, 15, 13. That's brilliant. So, yeah, I mean, we're desperate for goals, aren't we? I'm surprised we didn't sign him before, to be honest. So he was free, wasn't he? So I was surprised we didn't do it before. But yeah,
absolutely.
I really want to see the end of Colin Mwani at Tottenham, to be honest. I think he's been absolutely dreadful the last 2 games. His attitude has been terrible. It's a real shame because there's a player in there. There's a real player in there, as we saw in like the PSG game and his early games at Tottenham. But he's given up, this guy. And we're now in a situation where we have to play him every game. But I think it's shocking, which makes the whole tail thing that we were talking about earlier even more baffling, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I completely agree as well. Sorry, very quickly. I think the thing that worries me a little bit with David is whilst it's maybe a tough place to go and play in Italy or whatever, Spalletti's got them playing some very lovely football, and they're scoring goals. They're creating quite a lot of chances now. And so had it have been under Thiago Motta last year, I would have gone, okay, fine. But they're playing a style that suits attacking players, and he's not flowing. I would love to see what he's like in this, in whatever nonsense. I realise it's probably not going to last much longer for him to be here in that. But I think that, that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Darren Fearon said, Moani's a letdown. He has made Richie look like our better players. Moani is garbage, says Alex Minchin. And Haybridge Stewart saying,
Richie, I would have Richie all day tomorrow over what we've got at the moment. Like,
crazy, isn't it?
Crazy, isn't
it? First player I go for is our keeper. Our 3 needs shipping out. I think Vicario is going to be addressed in the summer. I don't think it'll be this January. And Moani would be a good player if we had a midfield that could pass to him. I just don't think he looks interested. I've said it before. I just don't think he looks interested. He looks like a player that's just sort of on holiday for a little bit. I wouldn't go on holiday to Tottenham. I wouldn't choose to go on holiday to Tottenham, but you get my point. But guys, that is all we have time for. Before you all click off the video and go and watch something else, please do me 4 massive favors. It's normally 3, but please hit the like button, guys. It is free to do so. And if you've enjoyed watching today, that would be greatly appreciated. Turn on the notifications as well to never miss a daily transfer video. We'll get a push notification straight to your phone or device. And subscribe to Spurs Related down below. There's 120 of you on YouTube still. Please all smash like, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe. And we'll see you very soon. The 4th one is to go and check out Billie T over on The Whistle Blows on his new YouTube. I put it in the live chat earlier. I'm going to put it in the description as well, the video. And White Hart Henry over on TikTok. Again, I put the link in the live chat earlier. I'll put it in the description after this video. Please go and check them both out. Smash like. Smash the notifications on, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you back for daily transfer content tomorrow over on Spurs Related. And remember, as always, Thomas Frank out, and go on, you Spurs. Come on.